Team, how much ammo do you need to have when you're conducting a patrol? And my answer to my patrol now is going to be different because I'm in a permissive environment, right? Does that make sense? I got one magazine, right? I'm not wearing freaking Hoo-Yah gear, not wearing camo, none of that crap. Don't have an ACH, don't have a body armor. There's only 3 magazines. Why? Because the only thing I'm going to encounter out here is going to be wildlife. If there's somebody who's trespassing through here, I mean, the odds of that is just slim to nil. So one magazine is going to do me just fine. Now let the environment change, right? Say we go from a permissive environment to a non-permissive environment. How many magazines do you need to carry on your person? Well, if you go onto Instagram, or you get onto all the big gun tubers channels and you watch what all of these special ops dudes are wearing and advocating and promoting, it's 3 magazines on your chest. So it's a total of 4 if you got one, which you should, in your weapon. So 4 magazines, right? So that's 3, 6, 9, 120 rounds. Is that enough? Well, it would be enough if you were, say, on a police department and you knew that, let's say you're on a SWAT team and you're going out to clear a building, right? So you know that you are only going to encounter the bad guys one time, right? Does that make sense? One time, there and out, and that's it. Maybe you're on a security detail. You know that the likelihood of multiple engagements is slim to nil. So having 4 magazines is fine, right? But if you're out here and you're conducting a patrol, I would argue that you probably need 6 on your chest, 1 in the magazine, and a couple in your backpack, right? 7 to 10 mags. Now, Stoker, why are we talking this kind of nonsense? Well, let's think about it. Let's say we're moving through these woods. It is a contested environment. We come up and over the spur, and we are faced with a threat, right? We have some targets who are engaging us. What's the first thing you're going to do? Well, the jibber jabber would say, well, place well-aimed shots on target, right? And that briefs well. But history has shown to us that the first thing you're going to do is fire a butt-ton, maybe even a metric butt-ton of ammunition towards where that fire is coming from, as you determine the distance and direction and the description of who it is that's attacking you, right? So let's say you need to go ahead and break contact. Well, while your battle buddies are moving, you're going to dump at least a magazine, right? Now you've probably already gone through 1.5 to 2 mags already before you even start moving. So if you had 4 mags, now you're down to 2, right? Maybe 2 and some change. And the further that you go back and you have to continue to suppress and lay down some freaking fire, the likelihood of you getting down to black on ammunition is pretty stinking high. Now let's say we keep moving back, and all this ambush actually did was push us into another ambush. Can we engage? Very, very quite possibly the answer to that is going to be no. Now what are you going to do? Well, you're shit out of luck. And so that's why 3 mags didn't make sense. Now when it comes to how many rounds you can actually shoot, of course, I know my battle buddy Randall talked about this earlier, but I just think it's worth rehashing and looking at it from different scenarios and perspectives, right? So how many rounds should you fire at one threat? Now we love to go to a flat range and shoot, and it's very easy when there's no adrenaline pumping to engage at 25, 50, 152, 3, out to 500 meters, and do so methodically. But when something is shooting back at you, and that something is not just out in the open, it's sitting behind cover, it's presenting a very small target. You're not looking for a dog target. You're not looking for an echo target. You're looking for something that's peeping around the corner of a large, thick tree, or somebody who's dug into the ground. Now, as opposed to having something that's this wide and this tall, now you have something that might be a sliver of it, right? Just a sliver. So how accurate are you going to be when your blood's pumping, that adrenaline's flowing through your body, you got the freaking pucker factor that's turning your outsides to the insides, right? And you're engaging. The hard truth is you're not going to be that effective, or as effective as you'd like to think that you're going to be. History has also shown this to us. Like the military, it is not uncommon for, you know, just the regular average Joe Schmuckatelli to shoot through, we'll call it 500 rounds, like your admin guy, right? 500 rounds a year to qualify. And the average qualification in the military is going to be high marksman or low sharpshooter, but there are still a ton of experts out there. Now, if you get outside of like the HR and you start getting into combat-oriented units that are doing movement and maneuver drills, and they're doing all their crew drills, it's not going to be uncommon to find regular soldiers and Marines who are burning through a couple thousand rounds a year. Compare that to how many rounds you shoot every year. How many rounds do you shoot each and every single year on average? You burn through 500 rounds? Not many people do. And so here we have a trained military force who not only is getting trigger time, but we have courses that teach us how to shoot. And we go to schools to learn how to shoot. And we go to advanced marksmanship courses. And we go to coaches courses. And we learn all of the fundamentals in different ways so that when we actually get to the point where we have to start pulling a trigger, that we're effective. And that has been the same since time immemorial, right? You shoot a butt ton of rounds. And yet history has shown to us that the U.S. military, and probably all militaries, it's just that everybody else sucks, will account for like thousands of rounds per KIA. Thousands. I could find some studies that would push that up to 10,000, and I could find some that may dwindle that back down to 2,000 to 5,000. 2,000 to 5,000. Let's say it's just 1,000 rounds. Let's just say it's 500 rounds per KIA. It's insane when you think about it, right? And it's easy to armchair quarterback these guys and say, well, they just suck. What they needed to do was have the intestinal fortitude to take a life, right? What they needed to do was get some sight alignment, sight picture, slowly pull the trigger until that commie dies, right? But these guys are actually in the shit, not talking about it on a YouTube channel. And yet, hundreds and thousands of rounds per KIA. And yet we think that all we need are 3 magazines and we're going to be freaking good to go. Is it starting to paint a picture here? Like, yes, you need to be a better marksman. Yes, you need to train your mind to be ready and prepared to have sight alignment and sight picture, pull the trigger, and know that you're taking a life. You have to do all these things. Train your mind, train your body. But you're fooling yourself if you think that you're going to be some one-shot, one-kill in an ambush. Team, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below as we continue to master our craft and develop our tactical virtue. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked. And this is why I would argue, and have made the argument before, that it would have been better to have shot 10,000 rounds and have 1,000 in your cache, as opposed to having only fired 1,000 rounds and having 10,000 in your cache because you're worried about some kind of invasion scenario, right? Get out of the SHTF wet dream. Take your butt to a range, introduce some different variables, get out here and do something beyond just flat work, and test your mettle. Because every round is going to tell you something about yourself and your marksmanship. Shooting uphill, shooting downhill, shooting through vegetation, moving on uneven terrain, making good observation. You know, there's a lot of shit that we can do that is super easy, but we just have to get out of our comfort zone and spend a little time and money on what we're doing. And if you're going to say that you're going to be about it, man, you got to be about it. So let's go do all the things. Not the best, not the worst. Got a little flyer there. That guy went into her sideways, I think. I'll take it as a good day. A couple lessons learned, things to improve on. Team, if you want to master your craft, develop your tactical virtue, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay up to date with future content. Consider becoming a channel member. It's going to give you exclusive access to content not available to anybody else. I appreciate you guys. Until then, you stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.
We know you're out there! Come to my voice!